What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to my channel. Let me introduce you guys to my man Carlos here. He's a good buddy of mine and a longtime client, and I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to do his haircut. So he's going to get a low fade and a comb over with nothing off the top, and he wants a design on the left side. Alright, so the first thing you want to do on any haircut that involves a design is the design. And the reason you do this is because if you were to do the fade first and throw the design on top of that, it'll just look like a bunch of lines on top of the fade. But if you were to do the design first and then do the fade underneath that, or have the fade complement it in some way, it'll actually make the design pop more, and it'll be a lot clearer of a picture that you're trying to create. So Carlos also got a design on his last haircut, and instead of trying to get rid of it, I'm going to use the old design as a template for this new one. Now that doesn't mean that I'm going to be doing the exact same design. I'm just going to be doing a design similar so that we can get rid of as many of these old lines as we can while creating a new design. One thing I would like to mention is I cannot teach you how to create a design. This is based on your own artistic style and on your own creativity. The only thing I can do for you is help you get better at executing them. So one major tip I do have for you when you do your designs is you don't want to complete the entire design with your trimmer. All you're using your trimmer for is creating a template for you to follow later on with your razor. You don't want to focus on thickness, you don't want to focus on dimension yet. All you want to do is just create a template for yourself. Everything else will be done later on once you use the razor. So now that I finished creating the template for his design, I can start working on his fade. Carlos gets a low fade, and all this means is that the initial guideline that I'm going to create is going to sit low on his head. The rest of the fade is going to be the same. So now that I finished balding out the bottom of my guideline with my trimmers, I'm going to bald it out even more using my Bronze Series 9 shavers. This will make the bottom of the fade skin smooth and make the haircut last about a day or two longer. So when I'm using these shavers, I'm not going up all the way to the line, I'm just going to go about half an inch lower than that. I'm going to leave a little bit of stubble in between so I can still have room to fade. Now that you're done with that, the next thing you want to do is pull out your fading clipper. In my case, these are the Barber Gold FXs here, and what I'm going to do is open the lever up all the way, and I'm going to create another guideline parallel to the one previous, about an inch higher. So what you want to do next is you want to close your clipper halfway and go up halfway on this guideline that you've just created. So now that you've done that, the last thing you want to do is close your clipper up all the way and completely remove this bottom line. This should completely finish the fade from skin all the way up until the top of your current guideline. Also in this step, you want to make sure that the blend is fully finished up until that top guideline. So if you see any dark spots, go ahead and mess with the lever and fully get rid of them. The next thing I do here is I pull out my number 1 guard. This is the Wall Premium guards, and these fit perfectly onto my clippers. So I'm going to open the lever up all the way, and I'm going to create another guideline an inch up. When you're doing a fade underneath a design, you want to make sure you completely skip everything over the lines that you've created. So what I'm going to do here is, as I'm creating my guideline, I'm going to completely skip the part over the curve, and I'm just going to go on past that. Once you set your number 1 guideline all the way through, you want to close the lever with the number 1 guard on and work at that bottom line. Next thing I'm doing here is I'm taking my half guard and I'm gonna open the clipper about halfway, and I'm gonna work out any lines I see in the transition between my first guideline and my second. Now all that there is left to do is to blend the fade into the length of hair that he has on the sides. Now to do this, I'm going to be using the clipper over comb method. All you're doing in this method is you're combing the hair out and you're cutting any hairs that are longer or inconsistent. One thing I want to make very evident here is notice whenever I'm combing through his hair, you can see lines going through the teeth of my comb here. You can see gaps in his hair. This is due to his last design that he got. And what I'm trying to accomplish while clipper over combing this specific area is I want to make it all even so that I'm erasing as much of that line as I possibly can. And I'm also trying to keep it as dark as possible so I can add things later on in the design. Now that I'm done blending the sides, I'm going to go ahead and start detailing this design. So as I'm using this blade here, at any given point, I'm only going to be using one corner, whether it be the back of the blade or the front of the blade. So as I'm doing this part of the design, you're going to notice that I'm going to be jumping back and forth a lot between my trimmers and my razor. I just want to point out that whenever I have my trimmers out, I'm either adding tiny little details such as sharpening the point like I'm doing here in this clip, and whenever I have my razor out, all I'm doing is detailing lines that I've created with my trimmer. step for the design. So now that we've completely faded the sides of his hair, we can prep him for the edge up. So his hair is long and it covers where we're supposed to be edging up. So what I'm doing here is I'm simply just combing his hair up and I'm clipping it so that it's completely out of the way. And just as I would with any other edge up, I'm going to angle his head to where I can see the entire edge up from left to right. And I'm going to comb his hair down and I'm going to begin by setting my center line. And this line I'm going to carry over to the left side and match it on the other. now that I'm done edging him up, I want to go ahead and blow dry his hair up for two reasons. One, I don't want his hair to be falling over whenever I'm doing the enhancements, and for two, it gives it a better overall finished look. Now that I'm done blow drying his hair, I'm going to use some hairspray to lock it up. This will ensure that the hair will not fall over and get in my way for the enhancements, and by using my texture comb, I will give it a nice finished look. So now that I'm done styling his hair, I'm just going to go ahead and enhance his edge up and make it as crispy as possible. only am I going to enhance the edge up, I'm going to enhance the design as well. So what I'm going to do with this die is just apply it to the bottom line for 2 reasons. 1, to make the bottom line darker so that the design pops more, and 2, so that the top of the fade looks darker and it fades up to a darker color. So with this kind of enhancement, you don't want to leave it in place for too long, because if you do, it'll just make a solid black line. You want it to blend in with the rest of the haircut, so every time you do one little part, you want to go ahead and brush it in. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spray my razor down with alcohol, and I'm going to go ahead and detail the design one more time. The reason I'm doing this at the end is because once you apply the dye and you're brushing it through, you might accidentally brush some of the dye onto the skin, and that will stain, so using alcohol on your razor is a perfect combination to get it out. So I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to watch these videos. I really hope you guys are getting something from it, whether it's just entertainment purposes or you guys are learning from this. But it does mean a lot, no matter the reason. I appreciate all the feedback you guys left me on the last one. If you like the video, like, and I guarantee you'll love the next one. So my video quality is just going to continue going up. I'm buying equipment. I'm learning how to use my softwares better. The quality is forever just going to go up, and it's only going to get better from here. I want to give a huge shout out to Carlos. Great client, great friend, longtime client. I've been cutting his hair since the garage days. Couldn't even tell you how long that is. And a huge shout out to Orion. He's making all my music. I really appreciate you, man. He's coming out with a YouTube channel very soon. And as soon as he does that, I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description below if you guys are interested in that. But that sums it all up. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll be back with more.